G'day mates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is a super exciting one. We got our first look at a major tournament in Season 7. G2 Esports put on an over $20,000 trio event today for EU. We got to see how the pros were playing in Season 7, which was really interesting, but we got a lot of questions answered about who's playing with who and how good are they looking. We got to see Mongrel's new team, Benji's new team, Mitro's new team, Wolfie's new team. Some of them are looking really good. Some of them look like they were really struggling. We also had the same story with some of the old teams. We had Savage's team show up. Probably honestly one of the worst performances I've seen from them in a while. I want to talk about why that is. Is that concerns for the rest of the season? We had another team, Hen, Yanis, and Chapix, just show up ridiculously again. They won the whole event. If these guys are uncontested, they win. It's that simple at this point. I was talking recently about how I think Tayson pretty much is unarguably the best player in the world right now, and I have to argue that Hen, Yanis, and Chapix as a trio aren't far behind. Yes, they didn't do well last FNCS, but they were contested. They're uncontested again, and they win. They're just ridiculous right now. One of their games, they got a 20 elimination win. A 20 elim win in a $20,000 tournament against the other best pros in EU. Like, these guys, even on an entirely new meta, are already disgusting. I know it's a bit of change of pace as well, but at the end of today's video, I want to talk about what happened today with Apex Legends getting hacked. And I don't mean just like it got hacked a little bit. Someone hacked into Apex Legends, turned off all the game modes and all the playlists, and managed to advertise their website promoting the fact that Apex Legends was broken and making the developers fix it. Like, this was insane. In case some of you guys missed it, the G2 Esports Cup was a 20,000 euro tournament, so about 23,000 USD. It had 2 open rounds, a semi-finals, and a grand finals, so this was stacked. A lot of the players were invited as well, so they didn't have to qualify, but even the qualifying teams were really, really good teams. And of course, no surprise, Hen, Yanis, and Chapix took it out on 213 points with that second game 20 elim win. Like, 20 elim win is absolutely ridiculous. When you think that Reason's team came in 4th and they were able to get 2 Victorials, their Victorial being an 11 elim win, and then also getting, I think it was a 6 elim win as well, 8 elim win, sorry. So 20 elim win when literally one of the best fighting trios in the world, which one of these games they walked out with triple spaz because they're dropping Sweaty Sands, and Hen, Yanis, and Chapix get a 20 elim win. So it's not like this meta is just a W key meta and everyone's dropping these crazy high kill games. No, they're just on another level right now. They just won by almost 50 points. Deceptos' team coming in 2nd, and then Seti, Kami, Teak in 3rd. Top 3 was the money, so unfortunately Reason's team on his birthday just missed out on the money, but they did get 2 Victorials, and this format had prize money for Victorials as well. It wasn't just the top 3, which honestly, I really, really liked. I think it's really cool to have that. It's not a ridiculous amount of money. It was 750 euros split between them, but it motivates teams to play until the very end. Even in game 6, you get a Victorial, you get some money. I really liked it. And honestly, for only top 3 getting money, the games were really stacked right until the very end. Like, yes, in the final game or 2, there was less active surge, but it was still really, really stacked. And it was a good indicator of how these teams are going to go. I don't think it's everything. A lot of the players are still figuring out the meta. Some of them are still trying to figure out their drop spots. Most of the teams that performed quite poorly, like Benji Fish's team and Savage's team, which I'll talk about in a second, was because they were getting contested. Yes, it was also done on custom servers, so unfortunately, the server lag was pretty bad at times. I mean, we saw some clips like this, which you can't help but laugh at, but they're a bit ridiculous. I mean, my man just got sniped like 10 steps behind a wall. Like, there is no way you can stop that. So yes, there was a few bugs, but overall, I still think it's a good indicator of how some of the EU teams are performing, and at least it gave us an actual indication of who's playing with who outside of just scrims or tweets. Like, we got to see who's going to play with who when money's on the line, because we've had big questions, and that's what I want to talk about next. Let's break down some of these new teams. I'm going to do my best to cover these, and some of them are a little bit different. So I'll start off with the first one that's a little bit more up in the air. This is Mongrel's team. So Mongrel played today with Savid and Rifler, and honestly, they looked really good. They came in 11th, which doesn't sound super impressive, but one thing I really, really liked is if you check their match history. So first game, they went down because they didn't have Storm Surge. They went down in 22nd place with 0 elims. Game 2, though, they got a 4 elim 4th. And you might think, again, Aussie, that's not that impressive. But what I really liked about this was was the fact that going into moving zones, they were 700 above Storm Surge and no eliminations. Again, Aussie, no eliminations. What are you going on about? Mongraal has been talking about how he wants to become a smarter player. He wants to play the game properly. He wants to stop W keying and is running at everyone. And he really wants to learn to be more of a smarter IGL role. And that's what that told me. Game 1, game plan didn't work. Didn't figure out our surge. Let's fix it up for game 2. Yes, he's playing with Saved and Rifler, who are also smart players as well, so I don't think he was taking on this full IGL role, but as a team, I really liked it. But I've heard that apparently this was actually a fill. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it, but Mongraal recently, a few days ago, played Noble Scrims with Aqua and Void. I was also told that potentially Mongraal was going to be filling with Aqua and Stompy, and I'll get to why Stompy's in the mix in a second when I talk about Benji's team, but you get the picture. It's kind of up in the air. I was told that Mongraal was just filling in for this tournament, but I would like to see him actually stay with Saved and Rifler. I think they could work really well together. I'm a huge Saved fanboy. He's one of my favorite people in the scene just as a content creator, as a pro, and I think this team would fit really well. But the one thing I wanted to take away from it was Mongraal stepped up. He's actually backed up what he said about wanting to take the game more seriously. I loved how he handled not doing well in the last 2 FNCSs. I talked about it in a video. He basically said, look, I got a bit unlucky this FNCS, but at the same time, I've just been wasting my time. I've been trying to play the game I want to, and I really want to focus up, start playing the game properly, and stop W keying. We've heard this from other people. We heard this same thing from Wolfies. When I talk about his performance in a second, it's a bit different, but overall, things looked really good for them. Second down the leaderboards, I'm going in order of placement. We have Benji Fishy's new team, and he's actually filling in with Stompy's old team, Joe FN and Shadow. They came in 19th, which was a little bit sketchy, but a lot of their placement came down to being contested on spawn as well. Game 1 and Game 2, they went down on spawn. They came 30th and 33rd, respectively, so really not good performances. They were getting triple contested. They were dropping into Slurpee against Mitro's team as well, and things just weren't going great. They switched it up to Pleasant Park, and they started to bring it around. 3 Elim 14th, 4 Elim 10th, 5 Elim 7th, and 2 Elim 14th. So once they left Slurpee and went to Pleasant, things looked a lot better. And unfortunately, I don't have a lot to say for Joe and Shadow. I don't know that much about them. They did place pretty well in the last trio FNCS. They did come 6th in one of the heats, so they have the potential. That was with Stompy, obviously. They have the potential to do well. Overall, in the finals, they came 14th, so not a bad performance with Benji Fishy in the mix. Things could go really well. Joe's coming off the back of a 51st in solo FNCS All-Stars as well. Unfortunately, Shadow got an 82nd, but things could be good. And again, we've seen really good things come out of more underrated players in the past, and I love the fact that Benji's giving more underrated players a go. I guess if they figure out their drop spot, they could be looking a lot better. The last big name team was Wolfie, CRR, and Mitro, and this was a team that was either going to be fireworks and go up in a ball of flame, or it was going to crash and burn, and it kind of did both. We had Wolfie, CRR, and Mitro come in 29th. Not a great performance from them, but like I said, on spawn, they were doing really, really well. They were double contested at Slurpee. Game 1, they went down 32nd, but after that, they were doing well on spawn, and they played the exact way you'd expect this team to play. Game 2, they had 8 eliminations before going down in 24th. They were just keying literally everyone. They took one of the weirdest, strangest fights I've ever seen on Leshy's team. Remember, this was the G2 Esports Cup. This was Leshy's Orgs Cup, and it was this massive build fight at Logjam, which is where Leshy's dropping, and it was a very odd fight. It was a very odd situation. I have to say, I don't think many people expected this team to work. I was just talking about how Mongraal made that tweet saying it needs to stop W King, needs to play the game more the way it's meant to be played. We saw a similar tweet and situation from Wolfies a little while ago. It looks like maybe Wolfies has forgotten that, or he's going back on it. But I mean, if Wolfies was trying to go that way, playing with CRR and Mitro is never going to be a good idea. These guys just can't get out of the mindset of just see enemy, run at enemy. And some people love them for that, but unfortunately, I think it's not going to work. They have launch pads in the meta now, but it's not shockwaves. It's not enough to get away with that hyper aggressive W key style, but it was fun to watch. And I mean, I don't know how they'll go in the future events. I don't know if they'll play in future events. The last game, Wolfies went to Dirty Docks as a solo, and CRR and Mitro stayed by themselves somewhere else on the map. So maybe Wolfies wasn't having too fun of a tournament. They weren't streaming, so we didn't really get comms on it. But yeah, things didn't look like they were working for this team. We've talked about the new teams and we've talked about some of the old teams. We did have a few new and old teams not really perform, and I want to give credit to this. It looks like Spawn Contention was one of the biggest issues for this. We had Savage, Refsguard, and Andretta go down. They came 23rd overall. They got a 1 Elim 25th, a 4 Elim 17th, a 1 Elim 24th, 0 Elim 30th, and then a 3 Elim 16th and a 7 Elim 17th. So their highest placement of the day was 17th place, which is not fantastic. They did go down on Spawn a few times. When they made it off Spawn, they did pretty well to get to that like 17 teams alive, which is that rotating zone. But then on rotating zones, things kind of fell apart. So I think a lot of it did come down to being contested on Spawn, but maybe just not having a good grasp of the meta yet. Because they performed so well last season, I do have faith they will figure it out. They're one of the smartest teams, you know, with Savage. They're going to hit the books and they're going to hit the VODs and figure out what went wrong. But there was other really good teams that did pretty poorly as well. Michael and Mexi, now playing with Kylix, did not the greatest out of Dirty Docs. They were contesting Thomas HD's team, who did pretty well, did a lot better than they did, but overall things were pretty rough for them. They got a 33rd. They came in last with a 27th place, 25th, 28th, 22nd, 31st, and 28th. So they went down on Spawn every single game. So yeah, it gives you a good idea that some of these placements are worth looking at. I think obviously Hen, Yanis, and Chapix absolutely popping off. Reason's team still up there. Seti, Kami, Teak, Deceptos popping off. So I think you can take the top performances as impressive, and I think you can hold them up and say that this was a good tournament where they proved themselves. But a lot of the other teams that haven't got their drop spots uncontested yet, haven't figured it out, are having problems. Because again, if you look at that, Hen, Yanis, Chapix, uncontested Craggy, Rezon, uncontested Sweaty Sands, Seti team has Kami split. Like, a lot of the teams that did well were uncontested. So I guess we'll see if the other teams can alpha their drops by the start of FNCS. Overall, the tournament was really fun to watch. I've said it at the start, I said it a few days ago in a video. This season is shaping up to be a really fun competitive meta to watch. The launch pads and the chug cannons make the games incredibly stacked. They go right to the very end, quite often to heal off, but because players aren't carrying as many floppers, they're carrying the chug cannons, it's leading to a lot of like fighting heal offs because you know where they are. There's a giant blue splashing sound effect and visual effect to find where they are. So they go, they pickaxe, they fight. It was really, really exciting. And this is when players are just starting to figure it out. There was a few complaints from the pros, as always, snipers being one of the main ones. Headshot snipes today ruining a lot of major tournaments. We did have some really unlucky situations with Miro or Myro. He crashed 6 out of 6 games, but I think he said that was because he got his PC tweaked. The servers were a little bit sketchy, but overall it was fun to watch. The one complaint I have, and I was talking about this on stream, and it looks like a lot of the pros are agreeing, is rotating Storm Surge. Yanis was complaining about it despite winning. First moving Storm Surge shouldn't exist in Fortnite. I understand why 70 players alive Storm Surge, 50 players alive Storm Surge exists. You need to get people to fight, otherwise everyone would just rotate to the center of the map, full box up in metal and never peek at each other. Obviously, too many players alive causes server lag as well, but once you get to rotating zones, it just gets a little bit ridiculous. Teams would be 400 above at half-half, 50 player surge, and then go below on rotating zones just because they're rotating smart and not box diving. Like, I get it. Some people are going to argue that taking fights on rotating zones and going for tags is good and it's going to keep the servers better by having people go down, but it just seems really broken, really RNG, and it's just forcing fights in a situation endgame where there's already enough going on. You don't need to force players to be active. They're already being active. So I think I would love to see that tweaked or fixed in some way, and it seems like the pros are starting to agree. But other than that, I'm really looking forward to this season. All right, change of pace here. Let's talk about Apex Legends real quick. And I know you guys come to my channel mostly for Fortnite, but this is an interesting one, and this could really affect any other game you love. Apex Legends today was hacked by someone who wanted to save Titanfall. So the way it worked was, if you logged into Apex Legends, you tried to play the game, you actually couldn't connect into any of the playlists, and instead of showing like, you know, ranked 3v3s or whatever the game mode is, it literally shows savetitanfall.com. And when you go to savetitanfall.com, it's interesting. Like, this could have been used to advertise a crazy product. This could have got a whole bunch of attention and made a bunch of money. But no, this hacker or these hackers didn't want that. They used this to try to save the game they love. They said Titanfall is a beloved franchise by many, and hacker issues have been at rise. The Titanfall community has been begging Respawn to fix this issue for over 3 years, but to no avail. Today, this game is still being sold while being completely unplayable. It's time we speak up. Now, a lot of players are behind this as well, because if you haven't followed what's happening in Apex Legends, it's not just Titanfall, who is also owned by the same people who made Apex Legends, in case you're confused. But right now, at the very top level of Apex Legends, it is unplayable. I was watching NRG Sweet the other day. If you guys don't follow Apex, he's one of the best players in the world. In 5 games in a row, he ran into a hacker who could instantly just kill his entire team in one shot. But it gets worse. Even if they manage to kill the hacker, and these were different players, there is multiple people at the top level hacking who aren't getting banned. Even if they manage to pull off some ridiculous way to kill a guy who's hacking, that player then has the ability to find the IP address that the game is being hosted on and DDoS it, which is essentially making the server crash and kicking everyone off. They don't even have to wait until they die to do this. They can just get into a game, see that a big streamer's playing the game, and just boop, servers die. Like, what is that? Like, that is ridiculous that this exists in not just a game, but one of the most popular and one of the biggest games in the world right now. Like, you think Fortnite has some issues sometimes, but Apex right now is really struggling with it. And I know that all of this, like, you know, Save Titanfall was based towards Titanfall, but a lot of pros have been talking about Save Apex Ranked. Sweet, the same pro I was talking about, was actually pushing for this recently, and it looks like a lot of people aren't surprised that this happened, but someone managed to basically cripple the game and turn it off for an entire day, to the point where Play Apex had to keep tweeting out from their official Respawn account that they knew there was an issue, they're working on the issue, we're trying to fix it. They were doing like every few hour updates for like 12 hours before they were able to fix the game and let people play it again. Ridiculous. All right, guys, that does it for another video. I'm super excited for this season. If you guys didn't see my tweet, I will be doing all the EU, NA East, and NA West Cash Cups and FNCS this season. Huge 12-hour viewing parties every Cash Cup day. It's really going to be so much fun. And with me now waking up early and following these EU Cups, I can make a lot more videos covering EU as well as NA East. So if you guys are liking that, please chuck a like on it. Let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on anything I talked about today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.